Hey, Darren.
Just have to deal with it. And then here we go. So with that, it is after 5:15. So we'll call this meeting to order. And Nicole, would you call the roll?
Oops.
Thought she was there. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
I've got to promote her or something. Hold on. Sorry about that. Okay. Here she should be coming in with us to talk.
Thought I saw her in there.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Yes, Nicole, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Director Berkowitz,
Yes.
Director Starkey,
Director Starkey would be here if Director Berkowitz was not. So she's
Okay.
the alternate. So she is not here today.
Director Altman,
Here.
Director Roberts,
Here.
Director Smith,
Here.
Chairman Short.
And I'm here. Thank you. And I see Director Altman has a United States flag in his background. So if you would join me with the doing our Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Okay.
Again, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. All right. I see that there's only us participants. The only potential member of the public would be Nicole, our secretary. So public comment at this time. I believe there is no public for public comment, so we'll move on to the consent calendar, which on the agenda there is none. However, there is the approval of the minutes of September 27th meeting, which could have possibly been a consent calendar item. Is there any corrections or any issues with the meeting minutes from this September 27th meeting? Can I get a motion to accept or approve the minutes?
I'll give you the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion from Director Berkowitz. Is there a
And
second?
I'll second it.
And Director Roberts has the second. Is there any public comment? No public comment, especially from Nicole, being she prepared the minutes. Okay, Nicole, if you would poll the vote, please.
Director Altman,
Yes.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Director Berkowitz,
Yes.
Chairman Short.
Yes. On to Transit Maintenance and Operations RFP update on procurement.
All right. Good evening, and thank you guys for being here. Quick update. Today was an important day because proposals were due at 5 o'clock. That's why I was a little late getting on, but it worked out because we were kind of all a little late getting on the Zoom tonight. The schedule of the procurement's right on schedule with what we started with back in, well, originally August. We did a briefing with you guys, and then we really got going in earnest in September, and proposals were due today. We received one proposal, so that's a little disappointing. 5 years ago when we did this, we received 3. We had gotten quite a bit of banter and communication with the industry going, but perhaps it was the pandemic. I really don't know. Our remote location, it could be any number of reasons, but as of 5 o'clock at the deadline, and I warned them, I do want to mention, I warned everyone that overnight doesn't necessarily mean overnight here. So if proposals come in tomorrow or the next day, we can't accept them because I did warn them to send them, pretend it's 2 or 3 days and make sure they get them early. So we received one proposal. It's from First Transit, our incumbent contractor. So we still need to go through the process. And so the next steps in the process are we need to evaluate and make sure the proposal is responsive and meets all our needs. The RFP required quite a bit to be submitted, so we need to review and make sure it's all there and that the pricing is within the range of what we expected, considering all this going on. So we, at today's meeting, we wanted to get 2 volunteers from the board to join our selection committee. And it's going to be easier now. So hopefully it'll be easier to recruit volunteers because we don't have a bunch of proposals to review and score. We just have the one. There were 2 addenda that we issued during the process. So it was a relatively clean procurement. We got our approvals from Caltrans after we released to stay on schedule because they were a little slow. So we did addenda number 1, basically incorporated all Caltrans's comments, which were mostly to bolster up our DBE program aspect of the procurement. And then the second one was a technical error that we found late in the game. So 2 addenda went out and 1 proposal came in. So that's where we are. So now we have between now and the next meeting to evaluate the proposal and recommend it to the full board for approval on November 22nd. We can do some back and forth, some best and final negotiations with the proposer to clarify anything. And if if there's any last minute things that need to be changed or modified, we can do that. But yeah, it's an odd duck. I can't say in my career I've ever had a single proposal come in, but I've definitely heard of it. It happens sometimes. But we need 2 volunteers from the board to join myself, Tamara, and Suresh from Caltrans are the other scorers. So that'll be to review the single proposal we got and make a recommendation to the full board to approve or not approve it on November 22nd.
So do we have any of the commissioners here tonight that would be willing to volunteer for that?
I volunteer.
Commissioner Altman, thank you.
I was gonna say I will too, but I don't know if you want somebody else or whatever.
What, you mean like one from the city, one from the district kind of, or one from the county kind of
Yeah,
idea? Yeah, I agree, Bo. Thank you for that.
Darren, why don't you go ahead and take it for the county because I'll be out of here last week in November.
Yep, I was just thinking that, Bob, and I will. Yes, definitely
Thank you.
willing to do that. So, Commissioner Altman, Commissioner Short will be the 2 that will handle the proposal there.
Great, thank you both. That's exciting. So yeah, I think that wraps it. We don't have a whole lot. So what we'll do is at the end of this, or well, maybe we can do it right now because we got through the item relatively quickly. I have physical copies for both of the board members. So I'm in town, so I can drop them off or I can leave them here at the office to be picked up. So I want to make the arrangements tonight because I'm heading out after the meeting. But we can leave them here if it's not too inconvenient for you to stop by and pick up your copy. And then so what I'll do is I'll review mine and do a synopsis of it and send it out to kind of help and guide you guys. And then we'll probably get together to discuss the scoring. And in this case, it's just sort of the evaluation that the proposal is responsive and that we want to move ahead with it. So we probably schedule that call within a week or so. And if there's any questions or things we want to negotiate out with First Transit, we as a selection committee would get those together, compiled, and then I would take that up with First Transit to see if there's any of those things we need clarified in the best and final negotiation. And then it comes to the full board then in about 4 weeks from tonight.
Okay, because Joe, so there is no, and don't get me wrong, I think First Transit is doing a grand job for CTA in general. Is there anything that we need to be concerned about with only getting 1 proposal? I mean, I've been on different committees and commissions that when they only get 1 response, will put out an RFP a second time to get more than than one. So is that something we need to be concerned about? Do we need to do that? Is there a requirement, I guess, is what my question is, to go out for a proposal again to possibly get another competitor?
It's a good question. I'll consult with Autumn, but I believe the answer is no, we don't have to do that. We did an extensive outreach on this thing, starting with the peer review. So we've got a bidders list of about 10 firms. Part of the deal is the industry is really in a peculiar spot with, the pandemic and the economy and the rising inflation. I think the industry's in a tough spot right now. So a number of the players that normally would have probably proposed didn't, for example, well, I don't even want to name names, but a couple of them that I know usually would propose and that I have a relationship with over the years, they didn't for whatever reason. They're not looking to expand right now, was what I heard from one of the outfits. The other one was very busy with other proposals of higher dollar value. And a lot of it has to do with geography. They need to have something. We're so little, if they don't have anything nearby, it maybe doesn't make business sense for them. So a couple of them that I thought would give us something didn't. And I will circle back with them to find out, why. But yeah, I don't think we have to throw it out. The exception will be is that once we dig into the numbers, if it looks like it's not going to be a defensible decision, if the costs are way higher than we thought they would be, or if there's something else amiss with the proposal, that would be a different story. But I'll review it with Autumn and see what she thinks. Caltrans is going to have to approve it. They're probably not going to like the single bid either. But yeah, I don't think it's any fault of ours. We started with the peer review. So before this was even released, we got input from about 5 or 6 firms. So they knew darn well about the process, the procurement and the opportunity, and they just chose not to go for it, because we're small and we're very remote. And, those are probably key factors, that in the economy.
Okay, that's great, Joe. I appreciate that. And I do appreciate also our remoteness and you warning them that, next day air does not necessarily work here in Crescent City. I've told quite a few people that there's no such thing as next day air in Del Norte County, and they look at me like, what do you mean? That it's next day air. But yeah, it's not always 100% the way it is. So I was just wanting to be cautious and make sure that we had all our T's dotted and I's crossed, as people say.
Yep. No, I'll talk to Autumn about it right away to see what she thinks. I don't think anything else is coming, that would be maybe delayed on the shipping time to get here, because we also requested, well, they could have included on a flash drive, but we did request an electronic version, and I didn't receive any proposals without physical copies via email or anything either. So I tend to think this is it, but we'll see. If something comes in, tomorrow, we'll talk to Autumn about it.
Okay, well, yep. Thank you very much for that. I just wanted to be careful that we're on the up and up here. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 7 on the agenda, the 2021 mini SRTP update award project to Ronnie Craft Consulting.
Yes, this item is one of our 3 little kind of, well, they're not capital projects, they're our projects that we're working on this year. This one we teed up to go first because Ronnie expressed availability in November, December, and we were able to get a couple competitive proposals from her and others. This is just an update. Normally we don't do this. We used to, back in the Bay Area, back in the old days, we used to do a mini SRTP each year because the finances were so volatile and dynamic that things could change. So we used to update just our financials and a few key projects each year. And I thought that was useful. So that's where the idea for this thing came from. But we never did that here at Del Norte, nor did we need to. But then, the COVID pandemic hit, and our relatively new 2019 SRTP is was rendered obsolete and kind of relatively useless, at least certain chapters of it, by the pandemic, even though it's only 2 years old. So this plan will take a look at the 4 chapters that we most need updated, which is the financing, our service plan, and then the CTSA, because there's some things going on with that. And it'll just do an update of those chapters that'll get us through the next couple of years until we get until we're in line for a full update, which should be like probably do the update in 2023. It may not get approved that year, but we'll work with Tamara. Like every 4 years, we get planning money to do that. But this will bridge that gap, and I think it's time well spent, because in addition to all the negative things that have happened because of the pandemic, almost inexplicably, some of our funding has risen. So we need to dig into that and make sure that's something we can depend upon going forward. So I'm excited about this mini SRTP just because there's been so much change in our finances and our situation that it'll be nice to do a little planning and make sure we understand where we're at. This product should be ready for you guys in the spring, early spring probably. But yeah, so this we received 2 proposals, and Ronnie's makes sense. She did the full SRTV just 2 years ago before the pandemic. So she submitted the lowest price proposal, and I think she'll do the best job.
Thank you, Joe. I'm looking for I have the bear agenda item. I'm looking for what the action item is here.
It's to approve the agreement in the amount of $18,880 with Ronnie Croft for the mini SRTP.
Thank you. There it is. Apologize for that, folks. So is there any discussion from the commission? Anybody like to discuss this item? Do I have then, Ray, I'm sorry, did you have something, Ray? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, just
I
clear.
heard something. Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. So is there a motion on this item then?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Altman and a second from Commissioner Berkowitz. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing no hands raised, Nicole, would you poll the vote, please?
Tamara did say in the comments something, hold on one second, let me look at it. She did say, thanks, Jill, for getting this contracted and moving along.
I completely missed that for, oh,
So
there it is.
I just want to let you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we have an approval from one of our public members. Thank you, Tamara. So go ahead then, Nicole, if you would poll the vote then.
Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes.
Director Berkowitz,
Yes.
Director Altman,
Yes.
Chairman Short.
And yes, okay, with that, we'll move on to item number 8. Approve the termination of the contract for bus deep cleaning with Palm Industries, I believe, and transition to in-house cleaning of our buses. Joe, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair Short. This item is one we've been working on lately. When the pandemic first hit, it was a scramble in so many ways. One of the things we scrambled to do was find someone that could give us extra help with cleaning of the buses immediately. And we found Palm Industries, who the board approved in early April of 2020 to come in and provide nightly deep cleanings. They were already, kind of teed up and ready to go. They'd been doing this for some other businesses in the area. So they were able to add on and come in and start helping us right away. So they, and I might have Fernando help with some of the, because he's seen what they do and the tools they use. So we've been observing them and we've been working with them. We changed their regimen a little. you know, kind of optimizing them along the way. Initially, it was about an $11,000 a month commitment, which is a lot for an agency our size. Now, of course, the federal pandemic relief funding, sometimes called the what do you call it? I'm drawing a blank now. Anyway, but so CARES Act for one, CURSA, there's like 4 different tranches total, but CARES Act was the biggest one and the quickest one, the first one that came out last spring. So that'll cover everything we do, but there's only so much of it. So we're very fortunate that the cumulative totals of those 4 apportionments to a stimulus, that's the word I was looking for. Duh, it's been a long day. Anyway, the total of the 4 economic stimulus packages is over $1 million for us, which is great. But at the same point, this pandemic, we have no idea when it's going to end either. So here we are 18 months into it. And a few months ago, we were able to renegotiate with Palm a little bit and get them down to more the $8,000 a month range, which is what they've currently been charging for the level of effort. But that's still, you know, about $100,000 a year that we, you know, that's not insignificant, even if we're getting repaid by the CARES Act. So in the time since we started working with them, we added some of our own air purification equipment. So that was the stuff we purchased from USSC, and each bus has this, so it's constantly working to clean the air that's inside there anytime the bus is on. So that's helped a lot. So then we started thinking lately about, well, we could fund a full-time position that could do the same cleaning for us each night, plus some other duties that we need to do here that we'd like to see done that are currently being done or not done, you know, as time allows by our current staff, and still save some money. So in that analysis, we looked at a full-time position at our current $18 an hour hiring classification. And that'll end up costing us about $4,000 a month to have that position. And in addition, we feel there'll be enough bandwidth for this position that in addition to all the cleanings, they can do some additional work such as bus stop cleaning, some cleaning around the building here, like janitorial, and do the fueling of the buses. So all of those jobs have sort of fallen on the drivers to do as time allows, which is not the most sustainable or consistent. So this proposal is to then terminate the contract with Palm, which is currently in the $8,000 a month range. First Transit's identified and hired an individual that seems like a great fit for it. The gentleman's name is Chris. He's here with us. Then take those savings. That'll stretch our federal dollars further, because we don't know really how long the impacts of this pandemic are going to continue. Our ridership's still in the tank. You know, things are not good at this point. So that's the proposal, and the contract with Palm is actually through First Transit. So it's not an RCTA, Palm Industries contract. It's First Transit with Palm, but because we're the funding agency and we sort of helped initiate this, we wanted to take it to you guys and let you know what we were up to. It has a 7-day term clause. So First Transit then will send them notification tomorrow, and it'll end around the 1st of November with approval.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Is there any comments from anybody on the commission?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bo.
So I was curious. I like the idea of creating jobs here local. And I mean, I don't mean to say take away work from a contractor, because I know they're just trying to make a living too. But I like the idea. I like that. My question is, certs, sanitation certs, would they need any with this pandemic? I'm you know, it's kind of winding down, but would they need any?
All the certs would be required through or acquired through First Transit.
Okay.
But we're putting Chris through all the training that is associated with the ozonator and all the cleaning supplies that he's using.
Okay, so kind of leads into my next question. The more certs he right? The more
Yes.
certs he gets, the more pay he gets. I mean, the more he furthers his education on this, the more he's worth, right?
Well, considering First Transit's paying for the certification, I mean, that would be a Joe question if he's willing to increase the pay.
It's just a question, yeah.
Yep.
don't have to answer it right this second, but again, I like it, so thank you.
Thank you, Bo. Any other comments from the authority members? Go ahead, Ray.
Would this position be reimbursable with the and I'm like Joe, I don't know the name of the relief fund, okay, but we know there's some monies coming down.
The American Rescue Plan.
Mhm.
But with
Yeah, the
this
CARES and the American Rescue. Yeah, this will be, yeah, 100% of this. So that won't change. We'll just, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked that, Ray. So First Transit has been putting a line item for the contract pass through. So for the 8 or 10,000 a month, that's been a line item on our monthly invoice so that we can then request reimbursement from the feds for that. So this will just be for the position. It'll be for a smaller amount, but it'll say for the fueler washer position or whatever. Bus cleaning position. So yes, 100% reimbursable. And it'll help us stretch the dollars longer. So I think we technically have 3-4 years to spend those monies. Hopefully the pandemic don't go that long, but
Yeah.
you know, who knows at this point.
It's hard to say with this virus. Any other comments from the authority members?
I do. I was wondering, okay, so we've already received the funds that will cover the cleaning.
Negative. We were programmed the funds, like apportioned them, but they're reimbursement based, the debt. So we have to kind of like our bus replacement money, we have to spend the money, prove that and produce the paperwork and then submit for reimbursement.
Okay, so actually the amount will be reduced to what the cost of the employee is, rather than the company that's providing that service now.
Right. So like for this first 18 months, we'll be requesting like 8 or 10,000 a month. So it'll be a bigger chunk and then it'll go down and then, you know, with the new employee. But yeah.
Okay, alrighty.
All right. I would just like to say, I think this is just good fiscal management on the part of RCTA and First Transit, you know, taking a look at the dollars that we're spending on Palm Industries doing this service for us and, you know, looking into the future and seeing that, look at that, we can employ a whole nother person here for about half of what we're paying to Palm. So kudos to the team for moving forward to this with this. I think it's a great move. So with that, any of the authority members? Oh, I guess we need to open this up for public comment at this time. And I don't see any hands raised and nobody in the chat. So with that, I'll close public comment and then open it up to any of the authority members for a motion on this item.
I'll make the motion to approve First Transit to terminate its agreement with Palm Industries effective November 1st, 2021.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Vidette Roberts. With that, Nicole, would you pull the vote, please?
Director Berkowitz,
Yes,
Director Altman,
Yes.
Director Roberts,
Yes,
Director Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Short.
And that's a yes for me, for sure. All right, moving on to item 9, the operations report from First Transit.
So operations, we're doing great now that we're fully staffed. Haven't had any missed routes, any accidents since the last time we spoke. We have one coming in tomorrow, starting training for a backup, and we'll be staffed fairly well then.
Very good. Yeah, we're doing better than our counterparts to the north. I was hearing on the radio where they were having to miss a route with one bus and have to fill behind it and being an hour behind. So that's good to know that we are fully staffed and doing well. Thank you, Fernando.
You're welcome.
Any comments from any members of the Commission?
I just want to say thank you too. That takes a lot of effort. I know how much it takes.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to item 10, General Manager's Report.
I'll be very brief. One item that I almost had on there and we just decided to be, for the sake of brevity, it didn't come on, so we'll just talk about it a little bit. Next meeting, we'll have an item for the, or 95% chance, we'll have an item for the, you may recall, we talked about the Cal ITP project. It's the integrated travel program, and it's it's our main project for our Far North Transit Operators Group. And we're moving ahead with that. This is the project that will allow folks to pay for their fares with credit cards and debit cards. So that's moving forward. Part of the details of that is we need to, as a region, come up with a standard kind of fare structure for our regional trip. But it trickles down to kind of others as well. But luckily on our end, as I mentioned, there's not too painful of a transition because we already went to a distance-based fare about 3-4 years ago. So sometimes we get lucky. So there might be some minor changes though, so that'll be in there. I'm still reviewing. We had a call the other night. But yeah, the changes for us won't be major. There'll be some expenditures though, the processing of the cards. I believe Humboldt Transit Authority will probably be the lead agency. They have the resources and the capability to do it far more than we do. But still there'll be a cost share. So we'll need to pay for our equipment and for part of the clearinghouse kind of back-end processing stuff. So there's some costs involved. But the positive is it's one less barrier for folks to ride transit and to give us a try. So more to come on that, but that'll be on our agenda next month, as well as then we talked about, with any luck, our awarding of the next 5-year contract for operations will be there. And that might be it. I had a meeting today for another project we have coming up is to look at either the mobile kiosk or a location downtown to, for example, rent a building or something. There's still some different options on the table. I had a meeting with a consultant on that today that's interested. So we're working on the scope of that. So that probably won't be ready in November, but it's coming your way probably in January. I think that's it for the GM report, unless you guys have any questions about anything in general.
All right, thanks, Joe. Is there any questions from the authority members?
Does the new building need to have any like charging facilities for our new buses that are coming?
Good question.
Sorry, I seem to be obsessed about these charging things.
Yeah, no, the charging thing's a big deal. That's one of the many things to be considered, because we're going to need it's feasible to find office space downtown that we could maybe run out of and have the buses transfer near. But as far as vehicle maintenance, that's a much bigger ask. So I'm assuming that one of our options is to stay here where we're at and renew our our land lease. That's something the board needs to, staff and the board will be working on. We need to make a decision on that in the next couple of years, because our lease, the first lease has a 20-year option that needs to be executed by 2024, I believe. So if we keep this building, we can do our maintenance here. So then if there was a downtown location, we just really need an office where we can keep an eye on provide ticket support and keep an eye on the transferring and stuff like that. So that makes it easier if we don't need to do maintenance. So yeah, charging wise, if we keep this facility, the charging will probably happen here at the fairground.
Thank
That
you.
would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the authority members? All righty then, we'll move on from the general manager's reports to item number 11, which is announcements. Any of the members have any announcements for the go to the order?
I do.
Go ahead, Bo.
So Daphne from Delmont Mission Possible reached out to me. Did she reach out to you, to anybody else?
Yes,
to
Bo,
me.
she reached out to me about a possible used bus.
Okay, and I don't know her time frame, what she's looking at. I don't know. I'm assuming that this would have to be put on the agenda. So just a real quick background. She's looking for a bus to do a mobile, kind of a mobile clinic, not really a clinic, but for vaccines for the homeless, and a few other things. I think it would fit her well. I like what she's doing in the community. And so again, I'd like for her to speak on this personally, invite her to a meeting if we could. So.
Okay. Yeah, we got the request as well, and I just want to run it through Nick, and I haven't had Nick's our maintenance guy. But we do have like 8 vehicles in the boneyard, which is too much, and I know I need to get rid of them. Last I heard, one was still pretty decent, but then again, that's been a long pandemic ago. But if that bus is still decent, that might be a good fit for Daphne. So I'm going to check with Nick and see if it is, and if it looks like that might be an option, then yeah, we would need to come back to you guys with some sort of measure to donate it, or however we want, whatever we want to do for Daphne. But yeah, we think there might be one, but I can't speak for it. It's been sitting in the rain for 1.5 years, but it might be a good fit for her.
So is this something we could get back on a future agenda soon then?
Yeah, I'd like to. I think we could maybe have it on the November 22nd agenda. Yep.
That was all I had. Thank you.
Well, right on. Yeah, not sure what Daphne's got going there, but she certainly is the dynamo in our community doing some very good things. So yeah, agendizing her request, I think, is certainly appropriate. Any other announcements or comments from the authority members?
I just had a quick question for Joe.
Go ahead, Ray.
Thank you. Joe, so those proposals, when will they be ready for pickup at, I'm thinking 900 North Crest Drive, right?
900 North Crest is the mail room. So I was thinking here at the transit yard, which is 140 Williams Drive at the fairgrounds, would probably be easier. I mean, I could, yeah, why don't we have you pick them up here? That would be better. And I'll just leave them here with Fernando. And then if that works, you could stop by here. So we're right on the north end of the fairgrounds.
Okay, thanks. Because of COVID, I have yet to tour the facility, so
Yeah, this will
I have no idea where
you
you're
over
even
here.
talking from.
So Joe, just to make things clear, that wouldn't be a conflict of interest since we're handing you the RFP.
You already submitted it, so no,
Okay, I
that's
just
fine.
wanted to clarify that before we did.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, I think that'll be fine.
Now, Fernando, if you're going to put like flowers with it or something, that might be, you know.
Right. Yeah, I guess. What do you got in mind, Fernando?
Put some donuts or something.
Right. No, I think that should be okay. So Ray, if you can pick them up here, and then
and they'll be ready for pickup when?
they'll be ready tonight, so you can pick them up
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay. Oh, very good.
Yep.
Okay. Any other announcements or comments from any of the members?
Do we want to discuss a physical meeting for November?
Yes, that's where I was going next there, Vidette. Thank you very much. Without Autumn here, I'll kind of step out a little bit. I think we're probably required to meet in person, with the exception of some situation where the risk for COVID spread would dictate otherwise. But I think at this time we should probably schedule our next meeting on November 22nd to be in person. Joe, if you think otherwise, maybe we consult with Autumn on that. But I know the county is meeting in person, because and I believe Bo and Ray, I believe you guys are meeting in person now as well. Is that's correct? Okay, so yes, I believe we would be not outside of, I believe if we kept meeting in Zoom, the Zoom world, we would be outside of the current direction on the meeting laws. So so with that, I'm moving toward adjourning this meeting to our next meeting, November 22nd at 5:15, and that will be in person at the County Board of Supervisors chambers. And I believe I'm seeing nodding heads with that. So we will move toward seeing each other actually face to face. Next
Any
month.
quick-
Okay.
I had a quick question before we go. I guess it's mostly
Okay.
for Director Berkowitz. Because you're going to be absent next meeting, do we want to hold the discussion on the new meeting day and time? Do we want to hold that for like January, probably our meeting after next?
No, I don't think we need to do that. I don't have anything that would conflict.
Okay.
So
we can go
whatever you
proceed with that.
decide.
So 5 a.m. in the morning sounds good.
On Saturday.
You.
No, just kidding. Okay, so we'll keep that up. We'll keep that on there. If you have any thoughts, you can, let us all know what your preferences are.
Joe,
So
do you
what-
need me to contact the county to reserve the room on November 22nd, or are you gonna do that?
That would, Nicole, if you could do that, that would be great.
Yeah, that
Okay.
would be great. Thank you.
And
Nicole.
yeah, so with Authority Member Berkowitz being gone next meeting, we can look forward to seeing Valerie here. And maybe the meeting after that, we could discuss the change of meeting time if that's appropriate.
No problem.
Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Berkowitz, I am kind of jealous that I won't be joining you in
Yep.
a warmer place for the next meeting. So
True.
with that, if there's no other comments or information from the authority members, we'll call this meeting adjourned and see you all at the next meeting on Monday, November 22nd.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. See you all
Thank
then.
you. Joe, I have one more question for you.
One sec, let me go ahead and shut the recording off here.
Okay.